Hello, welcome back to another video. My name is Gemma and it is a very exciting day because it is International Book of Longlist Day. So, I would have really liked to get this video up earlier. I'm hoping that I'm still going to get it up on announcement day, but it is already quite late. So we'll see how I get on with editing and uploading and all that jazz. But I had to come on and discuss it because I think this is possibly the best Book of International Longlist that I have seen. I've only been following the prize for probably 3-ish years, but I'm so excited for this list. So I wanted to discuss it, talk about the books I'm interested in, the ones I'm not interested in, and just, gauge what you guys are thinking, what you want to read, if you've read any, etc, etc. So just a couple of observations, I guess, first about the list. So firstly, again, a good spread of languages. So if I've got this right, there are 10 languages across the 13 books. There's French, there's 3 books in French, Dutch, Kannada, I'm not sure if that's how you say it, an Indian language, Italian, German, 2 in Japanese, 1 in Spanish, Romanian, Danish and Arabic. Good spread, guys. Impressed. Though what I'm less impressed by is the fact that 4 of these books are not yet published. And they're all books I really want to read. So I'm a little salty about that. So I'm going to have to see if I can find them on NetGalley or beg a copy off the publisher, I guess. Or just wait, like everybody else. So we shall see. There are plenty of other books I can read on this list, but there's some really good ones that aren't released yet. But we'll get to that. We will get to that. Apologies, I had a little hiccup there. So let's start at the top. I'm going to start in the order that I wrote them down, in the order that they're listed on the website. Going to talk a little bit about the book, what it's about, and whether my interest is high, medium, or low. Also, another observation, and you'll see this as we go through, lots of short books and 1 massive tome. So, in theory, with the exception of the 1, it should be an easy-ish list to get through, or it would be if the books were available. So, yes, let's start with A Leopard Skin Hat by Anne Sayre. Translated by Mark Hutchinson. This is translated from the French and is 112 pages. And this is about an intense friendship between our narrator and her friend Fanny, who has serious psychological disorders, and it's about that, really. That's all I read. That's all I wrote down. That was enough to know that I had high interest in this. I think the female friendship thing is interesting. Then add psychological disorders into it, and there are so many places this could go, and because it's a very short book, I think it's going to be super intense, and I'm there for that. So this is a high interest one to me. This was published on the 20th of June by Lolly Editions, which is a publisher I've never heard of, but will now be looking at a little more closely. So yes. Also, when I went to look at where I could get a copy of this, only the physical book is available. You cannot get an ebook of this. And on Amazon, it tells you that the wait time is 4 to 7 months. I was like, no. So I went over to Waterstones. They have some in stock. So it is available from Waterstones. I didn't check anywhere else. As long as I could get hold of it somewhere. That was really my driving concern. So the next book on the list is On a Woman's Madness by Astrid Romer. Translated by Lucy Scott from the Dutch, and this one's 236 pages. And was actually written in 1982 and tells the story of a black woman in South America who is married 9 days, discovers her husband is very abusive, asks him for a divorce, he says no, and so she runs away, she flees to the capital city, and from there she sort of discovers freedom, or is it freedom? And I think there's LGBTQ themes in here as well. It sounds really interesting. I love the idea that there's sort of a classic that's been recently translated on this list, and then it's from South America. So yeah, I'm super keen to get to that. High interest. And this one was published by Tilted Access Press in October. The next one on the list is Heart Lamp, Selected Stories by Banu Mushtaq, translated by Deepa Basti. And this is the one that I believe is translated from Kannada and is 243 pages. And this is 12 short stories. So I read short stories, I was like, no, not for me. And then I read that it's about 12 women or girls in South India who are Muslim, and it's about their like day-to-day life experiences. And I was like, oh, actually, that sounds quite good. I don't like short stories, but if I were to read short stories, that would be a topic I would want to read about. So I'll put it as a medium, because yeah, my interest is piqued. But yeah, short stories makes me a little nervous to pick it up. So that's where I am with that one. Then we have Perfection by Vincenzo Latronico, translated by Sophie Hughes from the Italian. This is 112 pages, and this is the Fitzcarraldo addition to the list. I really wanted Living Things, which was a Fitzcarraldo, to be on this list. That was the one I predicted, and I think it sounds a lot better than this one. This one is about a couple, they're sort of freelance digital creators, I guess, and they moved to Berlin. They're looking for some exciting life that they can then post on Instagram, and then they find that like all cities are the same or something. It's described as spare, which sometimes just means boring. It just, the blurb hasn't grabbed me. I'm not that interested in the premise, and I'm salty that Living Things didn't get listed. So my interest is low. Yeah, it's only 112 pages, so I'm very unlikely to pay for only 100 pages of a book that I don't think I'm gonna like. So yeah, that one's not getting read. Then we have Eurotrash by Christian Kratsch, translated by Daniel Bowles from the German, and the author is Swiss, so Swiss German. And at first I didn't think I was going to be interested in this. It's 192 pages. It's about a guy who's sort of a struggling writer. His mum comes out of a mental institution, and he decides to take her on a road trip, in effect to get rid of a load of cash that she has acquired through selling guns to nasty people, I believe. And then I think her father was a Nazi, so there's sort of like hauntings of that as well. It does sound quite good. It does sound quite good. So yes, medium interest. I don't think the premise sounds as strong as some of the other books on here, or don't sound as much like a me book as some of the others on here, but I am intrigued, and I think if I see some reviews that are positive, then it's going to be bumped up to high quite quickly. And that one was published by Serpent's Tail on the 7th of November. Next up we have Under the Eye of the Big Bird by Hiromi Kawakami, translated by Asayo Nada from the Japanese, and this was the only one that was on my prediction list that made it through. Not that I'm actually upset about that, because I think this list is better than my list, so not salty at all. And I do actually already own this one. Just for awareness, this is on Kindle deals, 99p in February in the UK, so hopefully if I do get this out, you've got a couple of days if you want to pick this up for 99p on Kindle, it's there. So this sounds like a crazy premise. It's a dystopian, which I love. I love that there's a dystopian on the list. And we're in this world where humans are almost extinct. They're growing children in labs and like plants, and sort of the continuation of the human race is dependent on interbreeding, and will humans do that? So yeah, it sounds like quite a critical look at humanity, but in this like dystopian narrative, which sounds fantastic. And I've not read any Kawakami before, so this is obviously a sign. Like, I own it, it's on the list, I predicted it, I need to read it. High interest. And 234 pages, if I didn't say that. Published by Granta Books in January, so very recently. Next we have Hunchback by Sao Ishikawa, translated by Polly Barton from the Japanese. This is only 112 pages. Isn't yet released. This is the first of the ones that isn't yet released. It comes out on the 6th of March, so not long to wait. And I believe that Ben over at Ben Reads Good predicted this one, so kudos, and it sounds epic. It's about a woman in a care home. She has severe curvature of the spine to the point where she is in a wheelchair and she has a respirator, and she sort of lives her life in this care home, but then on the side, on the sly, she's writing like erotica stories for a website. And one day one of the carers comes up to her and he's like, oh, I've read all your stuff, and she propositions him. That's all I know, but that's all I need to know that I really want to pick that book up on the 6th of March. And that is published by Viking, and there will be an audiobook of this available on the 6th of March as well. There's only 2 books out of all 13 that will have an audiobook, which is not great for accessibility, but this is one of them, so yay for Hunchback. Next up we have Small Boat by Vincent Delacroix, translated by Helen Stevenson. This is from the French, 160 pages. This is another one that we're going to have to wait for. 23rd of April. That's like 2 months away. That's outrageous, by Small Axis. But I want to read it immediately. It's about a dinghy that is full of immigrants going from France to the UK. It capsizes and 27 people die. Only 2 of the immigrants on this dinghy survive, and it's about why that happened, and we hear about it from the person who's operating the phone in France, saying, we're not coming out to help you because you're in British waters, not French waters. Ooh, a very critical look at humanity and morality, or lack thereof, both. Yes, sign me up now. Then we've got Reservoir Bitches by Dalia Delacerda, translated by Julia Sanchez from the Spanish. This author is Mexican. This is 192 pages. Again, this is short stories. I've actually put this as low interest. It's interconnected short stories, which is almost worse for me than actual short stories. And it's about 13 women who are prodding the bitch of life. I know that Ben has read this. I'm not sponsored by Ben, though maybe I should request some money from him for mentioning him all the time. No, I'm only joking. Ben's read this. He said the first one and the last one were great and the rest were mediocre, so I'm not going to bother with this one. So, and Ben is like an optimistic reader, so he's more likely to like things than I am. So if he only cared for 2 out of the 13 stories, then I'm probably going to only care about like 1, if that. So yeah, not going to bother with that one. Then we have the chunky monkey of the group. We have Solenoid by Mircea Carterescu, translated by Sean Cotter from the Romanian. 813 pages. Whew. So this has been on my radar for a while. This, I believe, won the Dublin Literary Award last year, and I was like, I really need to get to that. But it's 800 odd pages. Alas, I haven't got to it. But I really, really want to. And I'm also kicking myself for not putting this on my predictions list. I didn't actually realise it was eligible because I'm an idiot. So, there we go. But this is sort of grounded in communist Romania, and it's exploring things like the healthcare system, the education system. But then it like drifts off down like portals into other universes and stuff. Sounds bizarre. There's stuff to do with like it's just this massive journey, from what I can gather, going to like a TB place, and there's an anti-death protest, and There's a Society of Dream Investigators. I want to know what a Society of Dream Investigators is and what it is doing in this story. I would like to know that very, very much. So yes, this has had pretty good praise, I believe, from people who have read it. I don't know any people personally who have read it. But yeah, I do own this on my Kindle, and the audiobook I believe is available on Everand. So I really have no excuse. Like, I have access to 2 formats. I need to just read it. So yes, very high interest in that. Then we have There's a Monster Behind the Door by Gaëlle Bellem, translated by Karen Fleetwood and Letitia St. Loubert from French. And this one is another tiddler at 176 pages and is set on a French colonised island, La Réunion, where unemployment is high, expectation is low, and we have a young girl who's trying to escape her sadistic parents by running away to her school, and there's this violent clan gang that doesn't realise that it's heading for a fall, but that's all being documented by someone within their own ranks. Don't really know too much about it, but that sounds really interesting, and it's supposed to have like satirical notes to it, so like this satirical examination of colonialism from a French perspective on an island where things are violent. Sounds very me. So yes, excited for that one. That came out in October and was published by Blouin Press? Blouin Press? Don't know how you say that. Next we have On the Calculation of Volume Part 1 by Solveig Ball, translated by Barbara J. Haveland from the Danish, 169 pages. I read the title of this, I was like, that sounds boring. And then I read the blurb, and now it is a high interest book. It's about a woman who wakes up on the 18th of November every day. She knows this day back to front, inside out. She knows like when the birds are going to sing. She knows just everything about this day. She's lived this day 365 times, but nobody else has. Everybody else wakes up and lives this day like the first time they've lived it. And she starts to realise after about 365 days that there may be a way to escape. This is part 1 of 2. So yes, that sounds like a brilliant concept. Sign me up. High interest. But this is another one that isn't available yet, not available to the 10th of April, and is published by Faber. Okay, and the last one that I have to talk about is the Book of Disappearance by Ibtisam Azem, translated by Sinan Antoun. I believe this is translated from the Arabic. Azem is a Palestinian author, and yeah, this book addresses the question, what would Israelis do if they woke up one day and all the Palestinians had just disappeared? They were just gone. I would love to know the answer to that question, and so I need to read the book. It sounds brilliant. The ebook of this will be available on Everand from the 1st of March, apparently, for the UK. Maybe it's available now for some people. Maybe I've used my quota of Everand books or something for the month, but the ebook should be available on Everand from the 1st of March, if not before. And it's published by And Other Stories, which are fast becoming excellent publisher in my mind, and this is published in August, and I think it's obviously very topical having a book looking at the Israeli-Palestinian relationship from this angle. It sounds fascinating. It's 224 pages, so yes, I want to read that too. So there's a lot of books on here that I want to read. 9 I have high interest in, and then 2 I have medium interest in, and then 2 I have low interest in. So 9, somewhere between 9 and 11 of the 13 I would like to read. So yes, I'm just super excited. I think this is an absolutely fantastic list. I'm so excited. The only thing that's slightly exploding my brain now is that the Women's Prize long list comes out next week, and I'm probably going to want to read all of those as well. And I'm still trying to get through a chunk of the Women's Prize for non-fiction. Why do all the long lists come out at the same time? But yeah, great job by the International Book of Judges. I am very inspired to be picking up all of these books, and I just hope they deliver what I think they're going to deliver. So I'd love to know what you guys are interested in reading. If you've read any, particularly if you've read any of the ones I have high interest in and can tell me whether I should bump them higher up my priority list or lower, that would be great. If you missed my Women's Prize for Fiction predictions video, I'll leave that here. But for now, I'm a happy bunny, and I will see you very soon with another one.